I was lied to. The Secret History by Donna Tartt was supposed to be the dark academia of my dreams, supposedly. And it was not. If someone would have told me this would be a flat, boring true crime, then I wouldn't have read it. Just as a summary, for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to read what I read on the back, the same thing I read in my wrap-up if you've seen that video. Under the influence of their charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at an elite New England college discover a way of thinking and living that is a world away from the humdrum existence of their contemporaries. But when they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality, they slip gradually from obsession to corruption and betrayal, and at last, inexorably, into evil. I do not believe that is what happened. As Grapey Del Taco on Goodreads said, mind-numbing beige, a novel. I thought it was gonna be a lot more of them like losing their minds, like actually, and like going crazy because they like discovered this like crazy secret history or something. That is not what happened. A spoiler warning, because just to get it out of the way, I'm going to very quickly, in just like a few words, explain like what actually happens in the book. So yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled on what happens in the secret history, stop watching here, please, I beg you. How I would summarize what happens in the secret history is 5 kids who are all really into classics. They have the same weird but interesting professor, and they're all a little pretentious in some ways. When the most annoying member of their bunch starts trying to blackmail the majority of the other ones for a murder they actually committed, they start to plan the murder of their friend, and they actually succeed. But then they proceed to be frustrated and confused as at how difficult it is to not only kill your friend and classmate, your very close classmate, and get away with it, but dealing with like the repercussions and like his family and everything after. That's what I would say happens. Mixed together bland settings with unlikable characters and about 100 pages of intra-family interactions because there was a death in the family, and you have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Just to talk about my reading experience, it already started off on a bad foot because Donna Tartt is the one who does the audiobook narration. And I have no problem with authors wanting to read their own books. I'm like, if you want to do that, then yeah, do whatever you want. It's your book. But when you have the specific details of not only there being only one female character, but the main character is a male, very clearly from California, but you are a woman that has a very thick Southern accent, and you don't have a very good book reading voice. You don't have a good narration voice. Like, who didn't tell you that? Like, who let you do that without pushing back? Like, I'm reading A Little Life right now with the audiobook, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like the narrator of that book should have narrated this, or someone similar. A male should have narrated it, okay? Sue me for thinking that. But yeah, when you have a male character but a woman who's a poor narrator reading it, it kind of takes you out of the story a bit, in my opinion. It starts off slow. Nobody warned me that the beginning is slow. And like nothing happens. The writing isn't bad at all, but as I've said multiple times before, I am a character reader. I read for the characters. And Donna Tartt does not do a good job of getting you to know the characters. In Richard's perspective, you see them and you see what they do and see how they act, but you don't like get to know them until way later in the story, and by then it's too late. Yeah, unfortunately, the character with the most development and who you get to know in like the first maybe 100 pages of the story is Bunny, which Bunny's the worst character. Bunny's the character that gets freaking killed. The last section is the best in terms of the characterization, but because of Donna Tartt not giving you the time with the characters, I wasn't sure if they were kind of all acting like this because of their guilt from killing Bunny, or if they were all just so stressed out from having to deal with his family and like the FBI and like the people investigating it. I genuinely wasn't sure. And part of that was because, yeah, not only do you not really know the characters for a good minute or have a feeling of them, but like directly after Bunny's murder, none of them really seem sad. They're just kind of like, meh. Like that's the vibe I got, that they almost like didn't really care. Like, yes, they start like going into alcoholism and stuff more, but I don't really think they felt bad. So like I said earlier, the Bunny starts to blackmail them because they killed a man, Henry, Francis, Camilla, and Charles. Richard was not involved. It's off screen. It happens off screen. They descended into the madness that I thought they were going to be going in the majority of the book, but no, it happens freaking off screen. Like they like met Dionysus or something, and then they like lost control of themselves, but like in a good way. But they ended up killing a man and like mutilating his corpse. And Bunny wasn't there, but he starts like getting suspicious and asking questions, and eventually like being like, I could go to the police with this and ask them some questions because that's right outside of Francis's da-da-da. So they start getting all nervous. Killing Bunny, it's you see Henry push him and like see him fall, but other than that, it's just like little glimpses of it. It's not even that descriptive. This book should not have been as long as it was. There's so many scenes where there are these random characters who are like going on these tangents and or having these like long conversations with the characters that eventually end up going nowhere, and we're pretty much in there for no reason. Like, prime example, when the investigation is going on and trying to see if there was any suspicious activity around Bunny before the time of his death, and there's this random racist mechanic man or something who ends up getting a lot of screen time because he's just talking a lot, and obviously like the media likes stuff like that and likes people like that. He like, yeah, there's like a town hall or something that happens where he's being interviewed, and like, yeah, he's been saying like ignorant things about like Middle Eastern people and all this stuff, and then he just like, yeah, because I think they're watching it on TV and they end up turning the TV off, but he starts saying their sand N-words, and it's like, how come the only way a white author is able to like really put home that a character is terrible is showing them that they're racist and having them use the N-word? Like, it's as easy as like, if you're not black, especially if you're not a black author, just don't use it. How about that? And what extra got me and was like almost made me just want to stop reading because it was so pointless was she not only wrote it in here, but she got to read it herself. So I hope she had fun with that. But I will say it once again, if you are not black, an author or not, whatever, I do not care. Please do not say the N-word. It's that easy. Next, something else that is weird and unnecessary. Camilla and Charles, for those who don't know, are twins. And I wasn't getting that vibe, but apparently everybody else in the book was getting the vibe that they might have like been together sexually before, even though they're twins. And there's a part where Charles is drunk, yes, but he kisses his sister, and it's like a deep kiss, and it's like, ew, why is that in there? What does that have to do with anything? Like, obviously, it shows like they're losing it, but it's like there's so many different ways you can freaking do that and not have a twin brother kiss his twin sister. That is so weird. Ultimately, yeah, the biggest thing, this is a dark academia. There's not enough classroom stuff. There's not enough school stuff. There's not enough Greek stuff. There's not enough classic stuff. Don't tell me this is a dark academia when it's just set on a college campus and they have a weird professor. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. We're barely in the classes. We get like a glimpse of it, and that was the most interesting part, and then we never go in there again. So it's just like, why? Don't call this a dark academia anymore. Do not. Please stop, because it's not enough. Ninth House is a better Dark Academia than this one. Okay. This is a true crime set on a college campus. I don't want to hear it, okay? By the end, by the last like 100 pages probably, I wasn't reading because I cared. I was reading just because I wanted to know what happened. And on the back it says they're a group of clever, eccentric misfits. I would just say they're just weird assholes. And speaking of weird assholes, how about we talk about the characters? We have the main character, Richard, old man. I honestly liked that they called him that. It was very fitting for him, but it was like, yeah, why do we have to be in the most boring, bland character's head and perspective the whole book? Why is that? Why? Just some like questionable like character choices and like introspection that Donna wrote that I'm not even gonna get into. Yeah, Richard's not a whole lot to talk about. Bunny. When they were planning his death, I was happy that he was the one they were going after. I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna kill Bunny? Freak yeah. I thought they were gonna kill Julian. I thought they were gonna kill their professor, but no, they killed Bunny. I was like, well yeah, Bunny sucks, so I'm cool with that. I write notes when I read books, especially if I plan on like making a single video about it. And in my notes, I said that it was becoming the Bunny show. And yeah, before and after he dies, it's just the Bunny show, except for yeah, maybe like the last like chapter and a half. There's really no mention of Bunny, or we don't see his family or anything, but oh my goodness, it was the Bunny show for the majority of this book. And he was one of the funnier characters, but again, with how terrible he was, I don't know how anyone could miss him or care about him like that. I'm like, good riddance, bye Bunny. Next we have Henry. Henry was almost my favorite character, but because of Donna's lack of caring about characterizing the characters, he didn't do enough for me. Similar to what Richard was thinking when, I think it was after already Bunny was dead, Henry did kind of just become the leader, and it was Henry was like, we have to kill him. I just wondered why they made him, or why he just was naturally the leader without any of them like ever really pushing back. With the ending, again, spoiler alert, I had it at the beginning, but I'll say it again, and him unaliving himself, his suicide, I wonder if that was to show how Henry is always willing to do what is necessary, or if he's too hasty, because there's a chance that if they didn't kill Bunny, things could have turned out better. Probably not with how Bunny was, but you honestly never know, and obviously it ended with him shooting himself, so who knows. I'm gonna breeze over Charles and Camilla. I already talked about how the kissing stuff and like suggested incest stuff is just plain weird, and in all honesty, thinking about it, other than like Charles's antics at the end, they're two of the most flat, boring characters out of the group. And unfortunately, especially Camilla, especially Camilla. She kind of does nothing but be a woman around these male characters. And she's there to, you know, to receive all their affection, masculine affection and attention. And I think it's just, to prove that point of how I would say, yeah, Donna probably honestly didn't even care about her, but she just felt like she probably had to write a woman, is the ending, or the last conversation Richard and Camilla have. And Richard asks Camilla to marry him, and she says no because she still loves Henry. That's the last words from Camilla. So, you know, Donna's really writing her women well out here. Francis out of the bunch is my favorite. He was the most consistent, a little, yeah, obviously quirky and questionable, and yeah, not likable, but out of all of them, he's the most likable to me. He was an ISFJ. I've been learning a lot about ISFJs, and I love ISFJs, so that was funny. Love Francis. And then Julian, I almost didn't put him in here because I feel like there's no point in talking about Julian, really. I believe that if you take him out of the story, it would barely be different, 100%. With how he left, all his character showed was that he's a coward, and there's really no point in talking about him further. So forget Julian, he's pointless, waste of a character. To sum it up, it ultimately came down to Donna Tartt not doing a good job of characterizing her characters and getting me invested into them and what they're doing. And in the end of all this, my biggest question is, why is it called The Secret History? Oh my gosh, with it being dark academia and all this stuff and people talking about how much they like it, I thought it was going to be like, with their crazy professor, they find this, like, yeah, similar like National Treasure or something, where they freaking find like this old book or like this old something that they have to translate from Greek, and it's this old secret history that gives them all these clues and hints as to how to achieve this godlike status or something, and in that they freaking end up killing their professor or something. That's what I thought was gonna happen. That's not what happens at all. Oh my goodness. I understand it's called The Secret History because the ones that are left alive are the only ones that know what really happened and how it's a secret, and that's the only thing Richard can really think about anymore. But there should have been a different name. I don't know what other name, but it's misleading in my opinion, because I thought they were gonna find a secret history. They didn't. In my opinion, I would say that the last 2 pages, and I'm not even trying to be funny, the last 2 pages are the best in the book. I think if there was like a ghost bunny or just a little more magic, it would have been a lot more entertaining. But with alcoholism and bland conversations, I'm not really given a lot to work with here. If the book would have been similar to the last 2 pages and kind of like the magic, creepy, almost of energy it had, we would have had something. If it wasn't such a hyped up book and overhyped book, I would have DNF'd it. But because of how popular it is, I was like, there has to be something more to it. And there wasn't. I wanted so badly for The Secret History to be cool. And it was not, tragically. Have you read This Secret History? What did you think? Are you one of the liars that have given this 5 stars and told me that this was going to be the dark academia of my dreams and you lied? Are you one of those? Are you with me and Grapey Del Taco as well, saying that this is mind-numbing beige, the novel? It makes me want to read 50 Shades of Beige. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more of me and hear how good of a singer I am, you can check out my music channel and original music, all under the name of Shy Fighter. Like if you want to like, subscribe if you want to subscribe. I don't know, do whatever you would like to do. Thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you when I see you. Farewell.